It's 10:47 p.m. inside the 37th floor of Lockridge Capital. Most lights are off, except one. In the glass boardroom overlooking Atlanta, the glow of a printer hums against the skyline. A teenager in a grey janitor's shirt leans on his mop handle, watching the printer spit out pages of something called Final Version, Mercer Deal. His name is Malik Turner, 16. Sharp eyes, quiet mind. He's supposed to be emptying bins, not reading billion-dollar documents. But Malik's different. While his classmates memorize rap lyrics, he reads business case studies on his cracked phone during breaks. He knows the smell of bleach and the sound of power from 2 floors below, and tonight, for reasons he can't explain, he decides to look. He flips through the contract, page by page, until he finds it. Page 12, Clause 9b. It looks ordinary, until he reads it again, then again, and again. Malik's brow furrows. He mutters under his breath, "Wait, that doesn't make sense." The clause states that in the event of post-merger discrepancies, Lockridge Capital, not Mercer Holdings, assumes full financial liability. It's worded neatly, tucked between harmless lines of legal jargon. To most people, it's invisible, but to Malik, it's a trap. He doesn't fully know why, but he remembers something he once read online about a real estate firm bankrupted by a similar clause. They called it the switch clause. The company thought they were merging. They were actually surrendering. Malik quickly memorizes the wording, places the document back exactly where he found it, and finishes cleaning. But as he wheels his cart out of the boardroom, the printer light flickers off, like it knows he saw too much. The next morning, Atlanta's sun cuts through the marble lobby. Malik's there again, this time helping his mother restock supplies before the executives arrive. Vanessa Turner moves quickly, speaking softly. "Malik, please don't talk to nobody today. You hear me? These people don't play." He nods, but something in him won't sit still. That clause keeps echoing in his mind. Then he hears it, raised voices coming from the boardroom upstairs. A man's voice. "Who misplaced the draft? That document was confidential." Another responds, "We reprinted it. No harm done. The meeting starts in 5. Malik freezes. They're talking about that document. Vanessa tugs on his arm. "Boy, move. You trying to lose my job?" He moves, but halfway to the elevator, something clicks inside him. A mix of fear, logic, and something else. A sense that if he stays quiet, something terrible will happen. When the elevator doors open again, he's not downstairs. He's on the 37th floor. Inside the boardroom, the air is thick with money. A table of executives in tailored suits. Eleanor Lockridge at the head, crisp white suit, eyes like ice. Next to her, Cole Mercer, the dealmaker from Texas, tan and confident, and beside him Richard Lockridge, her husband, older, quieter, watching. The meeting begins. Cole flips through the contract, smiling widely. "Eleanor, this is it. A clean merger. You'll have full brand control, new market access, and no exposure." The words sound perfect, too perfect. From the corner of the room, Malik stands with a tray of bottled water. He places one near Richard's seat, then glances at the document. Page 12 is open. The clause, the same words he saw last night. They were about to sign the deal, and Malik hesitated, then blurted it out. "Excuse me, ma'am, but that clause is a trap." Silence. Every head turns. For 3 seconds, nobody speaks. Then Cole laughs, sharp, dismissive. What did he just say? Eleanor narrows her eyes. "Who are you?" "Malik Turner, ma'am. I clean the offices with my mom." Cole smirks. "Son, you even know what liability means?" Malik nods, calm. "Yes, sir. It means when things go bad, the one holding the pen is the one holding the blame. Page 12 puts it all on you." Eleanor glances down at the page. Her jaw tightens. Richard takes the contract, scans it quickly. His finger stops halfway through the paragraph. Then he reads it again, slower this time. You can see it on his face, realization. The room's temperature drops 10 degrees. Eleanor's voice sharpens. "Who printed this version?" No one answers. Cole tries to laugh it off. "It's just legal phrasing, Eleanor. These kids watch too much YouTube." But she's no longer listening. She's staring at the paper like it's poison. Before we continue, if you're still watching, you're part of the few who catch the details others miss. That's exactly what this story is about, the power of seeing what others ignore. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe, because the deeper this story goes, the more you'll want to see how it ends. Back in the boardroom, the tension's unbearable. Eleanor looks at Malik, then at Richard, then back at the clause. Finally, she says, "Security. Get him out." A guard moves forward. Malik doesn't resist. He just looks at her and says softly, "If you sign that, ma'am, you'll lose everything you built." That line hangs in the air like a curse. Eleanor's mask slips for a second, just long enough for everyone to see fear behind the power. As Malik is escorted out, Richard stands frozen. Cole forces a laugh, but his hand trembles against the table. No one moves. The door shuts, and in the silence that follows, the only sound is the faint hum of Atlanta traffic, and the realization that a boy they'd never noticed just exposed a billion-dollar lie. Down in the lobby, Malik catches his reflection in the marble floor. Just another janitor. But upstairs, an empire has just cracked. He doesn't smile. He doesn't even look back. He just whispers under his breath, "They'll see." The next morning, Malik's world feels smaller. The fluorescent lights of Lockridge Capital's janitor lounge flicker overhead as his mother, Vanessa Turner, stands by the vending machine clutching a pink slip. She doesn't say anything at first, just holds it out. "They said it's pending review," she mutters. "But you know what that means." Malik doesn't look away. "Because of what I said?" Vanessa exhales. "Because you embarrassed people who don't like being wrong." She looks at him, really looks, like she's seeing the cost of courage for the first time. "You think they care you were right? These people don't care about truth, baby. They care about control." Malik lowers his eyes. The hallway outside the janitor's lounge hums with executives walking past, people who won't even glance their way. He wants to believe it was worth it. He wants to believe somebody upstairs will check that contract and see the danger. But as he watches his mother rip the pink slip in half and stuff it in her bag, doubt starts creeping in. Meanwhile, 37 floors up, Eleanor Lockridge is pacing her penthouse like a woman haunted by her own reflection. The incident keeps replaying in her head. The boy's voice, the certainty in it, the way her husband's hands trembled when he read page 12. That memory won't let her rest. Not because she was challenged. She's been challenged before. But because, for the first time in years, she wasn't sure she was the smartest person in the room. She calls her assistant. "Send me the contract from the Mercer deal. The one marked final." And close the door. The file arrives. She sits. The room goes quiet. She flips straight to page 12. Reads the clause slowly, lips moving as she traces each line, and then she sees it, the switch, the buried reversal Malik mentioned. For a moment, Eleanor's face hardens, then softens into disbelief. How did I miss this? The door opens slightly. Richard Lockridge steps in, cautious, hands in his pockets. "You're still thinking about that kid, huh?" "He wasn't wrong," Eleanor said. Richard hesitates, his expression darkening. "Cole said it's a harmless phrasing issue." "It's not harmless, Richard. It's a trap. That clause flips liability. It hands them the keys." Richard's silence says everything. Eleanor studies him, the man who once built this company with her, now too tired to fight. "Did you even read this before agreeing to it?" He looks away. "Cole's been a friend for 20 years. "Friends don't write language like this," Eleanor spat back. For the first time in a long time, Eleanor feels something new creeping in. Not anger, not pride, fear. Across the city, in the Turner apartment, Malik sits by the window staring at his phone screen. He's scrolling through videos of men in suits shaking hands, reading captions about merger triumphs and historic partnerships. He feels like he saw behind the curtain, and now he's been erased for it. Vanessa enters quietly with a plate of eggs. "Eat something. You can't fight the world on an empty stomach." He doesn't move. Then a vibration on the table. A new email. No subject line, just one sentence. "You were right about the clause, but you're not the only one who saw it. RD." Malik's heart skips. He stares at the screen, confused, suspicious. He looks up at his mom. "Mom, who's RD?" "Probably some scammer. Don't click anything." But the email feels different. No links, no attachments. Just a quiet acknowledgement, like a whisper from inside the storm. Malik forwards it to a new folder he created the night before called Just In Case. He doesn't know it yet, but this email will change everything. Meanwhile, back in the glass tower, Eleanor Lockridge is unravelling the thread Malik pulled. She types the clause into a corporate database, and her blood runs cold. 2 other mergers pop up with the same language. Both were orchestrated by Mercer Holdings. Both ended in bankruptcy within 12 months. Both left the partner firms liable for millions. She scrolls further and sees the names of the executives who signed those deals, people she knows, people whose companies never recovered. And suddenly, Malik's voice echoes in her mind again. "If you sign that, ma'am, you'll lose everything you built." She grips her phone, calls Cole Mercer. He answers too quickly, his tone rehearsed. "Ellie, don't tell me you're still thinking about that janitor kid. You used the same liability language in 2 other mergers." Pause, a dangerous one. Then the charm fades from his voice. "That's called standardization. You're overthinking." "Standard for who?" The silence that follows tells her everything. At that same moment, downstairs in HR, Vanessa Turner stands before a woman with a polite smile and empty eyes. "We're not terminating your contract," the woman says, "just suspending until the review clears." "How long is that?" "We'll let you know." Vanessa walks out, clutching her handbag tighter, her jaw trembling. She passes the same marble lobby where her son once mopped the floors. The security guard who escorted Malik out looks away when she passes. It's not just humiliation anymore, it's erasure. That's when Malik's phone buzzes again. Another email, same address. "You're close, but they're watching you now." He looks out the window, spots a dark sedan parked across the street, tinted windows reflecting his building. If you've made it this far, you already feel the tension tightening. What happens when truth threatens power? When a 16-year-old janitor steps into a world built to silence him? Stick around and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next twist, because this story isn't slowing down. It's about to get dangerous. Back at Lockridge Capital, Eleanor Lockridge stands at her office window watching the Atlanta skyline turn to dusk. She hasn't told Richard what she found. Not yet, because she's not sure which side he's on anymore. Her phone lights up again, a text from Cole Merce. "Keep our deal quiet, and I'll make sure your husband's name stays clean." Her jaw clenches. The implication isn't lost on her. That's when she knows. The boy wasn't the problem. He was the warning. Back in Southside, Malik prints out the mysterious email and pins it to his wall beside a sticky note. "Who is RD?" The room's quiet except for the hum of the fridge. His mother knocks softly. "Come eat, baby." "I'm coming, Mom." He glances back at his notes, arrows, question marks, and one bold word circled in red. "Mercer." As he turns off the light, he mutters to himself, "They think I'll forget. I won't." And somewhere uptown, in a penthouse office, Eleanor Lockridge sits in silence, staring at the same claws that started it all, realizing that the janitor's son might just be the only person in Atlanta who can save her company. By 2:43 a.m., Malik got another email. The subject line reads only, "You were right." Malik sits in the dark, the faint blue glow of the laptop painting his face. His mother is asleep in the next room, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound. He scrolls through the message, pulse quickening. It's signed RD. Attached is a PDF, a personnel file from Lockridge Capital, stamped terminated. The name jumps out, Raymond Diaz. A quick search shows nothing current. No LinkedIn, no social media. It's like the man vanished. But the last line of the email burns in Malik's mind. "If you want to know the truth, meet me at 10 p.m, Jefferson Parking Garage, Level 3. But who reaches out to a 16-year-old about corporate fraud? Malik knows it's reckless. But curiosity isn't just eating at him, it's pulling him. That clause, that silence in the boardroom, the smirk on Cole Mercer's face, it all points to something bigger than one missing contract. At exactly 10 p.m, Malik walks through the echoing garage, the sodium lamps buzzing overhead. His breath fogs the cool air. A man steps out from behind a pillar, mid-40s, Latino, beard grown rough, eyes sharp but haunted. "Raymond Diaz?" Malik asks. The man nods. "You're the janitor's kid who stopped a $1 billion deal. I had to see if you were real." The man Lockridge Capital erased just stepped out of the shadows. Ray explains how 2 years ago he discovered that Mercer Holdings had used the same liability trick in another merger, one that bankrupted a mid-sized firm in Dallas. When Ray flagged it, Richard Lockridge himself told him to drop it. 2 weeks later, his keycard stopped working. "They said I leaked documents," Ray says bitterly. "They ruined my name, but I kept copies." He opens a manila envelope and slides out printouts, email threads, wire transfers, signatures. Malik's eyes scan the papers, his mind connecting dots. Offshore accounts, Cayman Islands. And one name appears again and again, E. Lockridge. But that's Eleanor's name, Malik says. She didn't sign those. Ray gives a cold smile. You think she knows what's really under her empire? Her husband and Mercer used her credentials. She's the perfect shield, rich, white and trusted. The CEO everyone admired might be the unwitting face of a crime empire. Malik feels the ground shift beneath him. The story he thought he understood, the one where the powerful woman simply overlooked a janitor's son, suddenly looks like something darker. They start digging. Night after night, Ray teaches Malik how to cross-reference shell companies, trace routing numbers, and follow money that shouldn't exist. Malik's laptop screen fills with spreadsheets and offshore statements. The deeper they go, the uglier it gets. Mercer Holdings is a front, one of several. Each company merges with a smaller firm, drains its assets, declares bankruptcy, and walks away clean. Every signature traces back to Eleanor's digital ID. Meanwhile, across town, Eleanor Lockridge is beginning to lose sleep. She's noticed strange flickers on her home security system. Cameras are shifting angles on their own. Files are missing from her desktop. One night, she looks up at the corner of her office and sees a tiny red light blinking above a smoke detector. She calls her tech guy. He says, "Ma'am, that's not one of ours." When a billionaire CEO realizes she's being watched, the question becomes, by whom? That night, Eleanor confronts Richard in the penthouse. He's sitting with a drink, pretending to read financials. "Why are there cameras in my office?" she asks. He doesn't flinch. "To protect us." "From what?" He sighs. "From what you don't want to see." When she presses, he tells her everything. The fake accounts, the deals Mercer engineered, the reason her name's on everything. "If it all goes down, you're the face, Ellie," he says quietly. "You can survive it." "I can't." Eleanor stares at him, the weight of betrayal settling like ice in her chest. The empire she built was already rotting beneath her feet. Her husband didn't just betray her, he turned her into the fall guy. Back in Southside, Vanessa Turner gets a call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end is low, male, and deliberate. "Tell your son to stop playing lawyer," it says. "He doesn't know who he's messing with." Then silence. Vanessa rushes to Malik's room, furious and terrified. "You delete those files right now," she demands. "You think these people won't hurt you?" Malik looks at her, calm but defiant. "Mom, they already hurt everyone. They just do it in suits." When you grow up cleaning the offices of the powerful, truth becomes the only weapon you have. Vanessa breaks down, torn between fear and pride. She remembers the boy who read contract law off the library computer after school, the one who never stopped asking why some people get away with everything. But this feels different. Dangerous. Malik goes back to work with Ray the next night. They encrypt the data, store backups across multiple drives. Malik knows they can't take this to the police. Not yet. They need proof that connects Mercer, Richard, and the fake accounts. Then one night, Malik receives another email. No subject line, just a link. He hesitates, then clicks. It opens a live feed, a camera inside Eleanor's penthouse office. She's sitting alone, staring at her own reflection in the glass. A shadow moves behind her. Richard enters the frame. They're arguing, though there's no sound. He grabs her arm. She slaps him. Papers scatter across the floor. The feed cuts to black. The walls are closing in, and everyone's being watched. Malik turns to Ray. "If we don't act now, someone's going to disappear." Ray nods grimly. "Then we take it public, find someone who can't be bought." That's when Malik remembers the journalist who covered corporate discrimination at Lockridge Capital 2 years ago, Naomi Blake. He starts drafting a message to her, attaching redacted files, but before he can send it, a notification pops up. "Incoming call, unknown number." He answers. Silence at first, then a woman's voice. Calm, controlled, familiar. "This is Eleanor Lockridge," she says. "I know who you are, Malik, and I think it's time we talk." If you're still watching this, it means you're deep into this story, and trust me, what happens next will shock you even more. So before we continue, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss the final part, because the reckoning is coming. It's a Friday night in downtown Atlanta, the kind that glows gold against the skyline. At the Lockridge Foundation Gala, champagne flutes glimmer, cameras flash, and every handshake is rehearsed. Eleanor Lockridge stands beneath the chandelier, the very picture of composure. Silver gown, steady gaze, nothing out of place. But inside, she's unravelling. The woman who built an empire is about to watch it burn, and she knows it. Across the ballroom she spots Cole Mercer, laughing with her husband Richard. Two men sharing the same joke that's destroyed lives. She forces a smile, raises her glass, and turns away before her disgust shows. Meanwhile, in a quiet diner 10 miles away, Malik Turner sits across from Naomi Blake, a journalist with the kind of calm that only comes from chasing danger for a living. A small recorder sits between them. "So you're the janitor's son," Naomi says, half smiling. "The one who stopped $1 billion deal." Malik shakes his head. "I didn't stop it, just slowed it down." He slides a flash drive across the table. "But this will stop it for good." Naomi studies him. "You know what happens when you expose people with money, right?" "I do," he says quietly, "but I also know what happens when nobody does." He's just 16, but what he's about to do will take down billionaires. Naomi plugs in the drive. The files open like wounds, offshore accounts, fraudulent wire transfers, board memos with forged signatures. Everything Ray Diaz and Malik uncovered, now packaged, time-stamped, and undeniable. Naomi exhales. This isn't just corruption. This is organized theft. She looks at Malik. "You're sure you want this public?" He nods. "If they can't bury me, they'll bury the truth. I'd rather go first." And on the other end, Eleanor was on stage, smiling through applause. "At Lockridge Capital," she says into the mic, "we believe in legacy, in leadership, in integrity." Her voice doesn't shake, but her eyes flick toward the back of the room, where Cole Mercer leans in close to Richard, whispering something that makes his jaw tighten. Naomi hits send. Encrypted copies of the files shot to 3 major news outlets and 1 federal inbox. Within minutes, her phone buzzes. Anonymous drop received. Verification underway. Malik watches, silent. It's strange. The moment truth leaves your hands, it stops being yours. It becomes fire. Across town, black SUVs pull up near the gala. Unmarked, unhurried. Eleanor's assistant hands her a phone mid-speech. "It's urgent," the woman whispers. Eleanor's expression doesn't change, but her grip tightens on the podium. On the other end, her head of security speaks fast, panicked. "Ma'am." The bureau just entered the lobby. The most powerful woman in Atlanta has 90 seconds before her world ends. She looks out at the crowd, senators, investors, reporters, all applauding the image of integrity she sold them. And for a flicker of a moment she considers running. But then she spots something across the ballroom that freezes her breath. Mercer whispering to Richard, again smug, confident. She steps down from the stage, walks right toward them. The applause still echoes as she reaches her husband. "What did you do?" she whispers. Richard doesn't answer. Mercer does. "We did what we had to do to keep the dream alive." Eleanor looks at him coldly. Whose dream? Before he can answer, 2 FBI agents step through the doors. Justice doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just walks in with a badge. Cameras flash as the agents approach. "Richard Lockridge, Cole Mercer, you're under arrest for securities fraud and conspiracy." Gasps ripple through the ballroom. Mercer raises his hands slowly, still smirking. Richard looks at Eleanor, eyes hollow. "I did it for us," he mutters. She steps back. "No, you did it for you." In the distance, Malik and Naomi watch from a parked car overlooking the scene on a live feed. The headlines are already spreading. Mercer Holdings raided, Lockridge investigated. Naomi looks at the boy beside her. "You just changed a city, Malik." He shakes his head. "No, I just read the fine print." The boy they ignored just rewrote the definition of power. Inside the gala, Eleanor stands frozen as her empire crumbles in real time. Reporters swarm. Her PR team panics. And yet, she feels something strange. Relief, because for the first time in years, she doesn't have to pretend. As the agents escort Richard away, he looks over his shoulder. "They'll blame you, Eleanor. It's your name on everything." She straightens. "Then I'll face it. Sometimes redemption isn't clean. It's just finally telling the truth out loud." The next morning, the sun rises over Southside Atlanta. The neighborhood hums like it always does, buses grinding, kids laughing, life moving on. Vanessa Turner's phone rings, unknown number. She hesitates, then answers. "Mrs. Turner," a calm voice says. "This is Eleanor Lockridge." Vanessa freezes. Eleanor continues, voice softer than before. "Tell your son he saved more than just a company. He saved people who didn't even know they were being robbed." Then the line goes dead. The woman who once dismissed him now owes him everything. And on the other end of town, Malik was waiting at the bus stop. Backpack slung over his shoulder, a worn notebook in his lap, Business Ethics 101 scrawled on the cover. He flips it open. The first page reads, "Truth isn't always profitable, but it's always right." The morning light glints off the skyline. For a brief moment he looks like any other kid, except he's not. He's the boy who made billionaires sweat and forced a city to look in the mirror. He looks up at the sun and a faint smile crosses his face. "Next time," he says quietly, "they'll read the fine print." Some stories don't end with applause. They end with change. If you've been watching from the start, you already know this isn't just a story about business. It's about power, race, and what happens when someone refuses to stay silent. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. More stories like this drop every day, and trust me, they only get deeper from here.